Levine, and I'm the chairman of the Lake County Republican Party. I just want to thank everybody for coming out today, and I just want to tell you what a great job the Lake County Republican Party has done in this election. You know, I remember on August the 18th, we gathered right over here at Wooten Park after this primary battle that we'd just gone through, and a lot of people were tired, and they said, yeah, man, we're tired. What are we doing here on this Saturday morning? We just came through a primary election cycle. And what we said to that group was that, you know what, ladies and gentlemen, this general election is going to be on top of us in no time. And we only have so much time to get ready to put Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan in the White House. Amen. How many of you guys are ready to put Romney and Ryan in the White House? Yeah. Yeah. You know, Lake County, how many of you guys love living in Lake County? I do. I love living in Lake County. And why is that? Because Lake County is full of like-minded people, and I challenge you on Election Day to compare the number of Republican votes in Lake County to Republican votes in every other county in Florida, and you're going to love living in Lake County even more. Exactly. Exactly. And what does Alan Winslow tell us on the August the 18th? What did he tell us? He said we need 100,000 Republican votes out of Lake County, Florida. 100K makes our day. That's been our slogan through this general election cycle. That's a pretty lofty goal, but we're shooting for it. If we get 100,000 votes out of Lake County, there will be no doubt that Lake County is a Republican county. So we're very fortunate today to have the Romney-Ryan bus with us and some great legislators. We're very fortunate in Lake County to have a superb delegation of legislators who take care of conservative values every day. Speaking with us today is going to be our state representative, Larry Metz. Mr. Metz. Then we'll have Senator Hayes. And of course, we're very fortunate and blessed to have our state agriculture commissioner, Adam Putnam, with us today. So at this time, I'm going to turn the meeting over to Mr. Metz, who will introduce Mr. Hayes, who will introduce Mr. Putnam. Thanks for coming.
Tag team, very efficient.
Thank you very much, everyone, for being here. And this is really an exciting moment. For me, it's been 40 years since I volunteered in my first presidential campaign. I was 17 years old in 1972 and worked for the Nixon re-election campaign. I missed a couple of campaigns when I was in the Marine Corps, but I've got to tell you, throughout that whole experience of 40 years, I have never sensed the cusp of history like I've sensed for this election. Every election we hear people say, this is the most important election in our lifetime. And it is in a way because it's the only one you can do anything about at that time, the one that's right in front of you. But if you look at the history of our country from the beginning until now, this is a pivotal election on the linearity of our history. And we've got to win on Tuesday, and I think we're going to win. I sense we're going to win big here in Lake County and in Florida. And we've got to elect Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan as our next president and vice president. So I'm really proud to be part of that. Thank you all for everything you're doing to make that possible. And we have not only the election for president and vice president, we have down-ticket elections to be concerned about. And one of them is our own state senator, Alan Hayes, is on the ballot next Tuesday. We've got to make sure we go all the way down and vote for our Republican ticket all the way. Alan's a great senator. It's been a privilege to work with him in the legislature. He's a true conservative, really carries the hard bills in the Senate. He and I have worked together on several bills. We had that American Law and American Courts bill last 2 sessions. We got it through the House, and we almost got it through the Senate, but we ran out of time over there. And we're going to bring that one back here. I'm looking forward to working with him on that as well. So without further ado, I want to introduce our great state senator, Alan Hayes.
Thank you. I can't say thank you enough for each one of you taking the time to be here today. And, you know, when you've had as many birthdays as I've had, there's going to be some mistakes that you make in your life. And many Americans 4 years ago made what could be a fatal mistake. And you learn that when you make mistakes, the best thing you can do is recognize them and take steps to correct the error of your ways. Now, we have an opportunity this week to correct a grievous error that was made 4 years ago when a lot of Americans, I don't imagine anybody in this group, I certainly didn't, but a lot of Americans bought this idea of hope and change. And now all we hope for is a change. That's all we got to have. So, it's absolutely imperative that you try to have a conversation with everybody in your circle of influence, no matter how old, how young, or any other descriptive term you might want to use to describe those people. And if they're not a close friend, then try to make them a friend enough that you can say to them, please, make sure you vote on Tuesday. And even between, they can vote tomorrow also. But get on your email address list. Contact everybody. Please implore them to vote, vote, vote. And make sure you tell them how to vote in case they don't know right away. People don't understand many times how important it is that we get Bill Nelson retired and we vote for Connie Mack for U.S. Senate.
Yeah.
We've got to understand the impact of leaving Bill Nelson up there when the next president appoints Supreme Court justice. And it's going to happen. We've got to get conservative people in the U.S. Senate. We've got to make sure that Harry Reid is no longer the majority leader of the U.S. Senate. We've got to do that. And folks, right now, it's concentrate. Get on your email, send out a blast to everybody on your address book, and make phone calls, do everything you can to make sure that we get the Romney-Ryan ticket elected this week. We've got to make sure we do that. Please. One of the real joys that I have working in Tallahassee is chairing one of the appropriations subcommittees. It just so happens that the commissioner looks to me for his money. So Adam and I are good friends. But literally, it is a joy to work with a man like this who I don't have to try to convince that we need to be good stewards of the money that the taxpayers have entrusted us with. We need to make sure that the programs that are running through the Agriculture Department are being run efficiently and effectively and economically. And this man loves to save money just as much as I do, and it is truly a joy and a privilege for me to introduce to you our Commissioner of Agriculture, Adam Putnam.
He's tight as a tick now. He brings one of those sharp pencils to the deal. He's got pencils smaller than those dentist drills he uses on you. And it's a pleasure to work with him. And I tell you, when you've got a team of conservatives running the state of Florida, you see what you can do. A conservative governor, a conservative attorney general, a conservative CFO, a conservative ag commissioner, a conservative legislature that understands that you build the businesses up and down Main Street. Not the government, not Barack Obama. It is the strength of the American character and the effort that we as individuals put into this that made America strong, that keeps America strong, and that will continue to sustain our greatness and make America the shining city on the hill once more and end our 4-year-long nightmare. That's what this election is all about. Now, I think about standing under this 200-year-old oak tree on a main street in a quiet community where people still support one another. They support the local library and they join the Rotary Club and the Kiwanis Club. It's the institutions that make America strong. We don't have any interest in becoming more like Europe. We don't have any interest in looking more like Germany or Greece or Spain or Portugal. That's not who we are, but that's who our president wants us to become. And we've got an opportunity to reject that. We stand here in freedom with men and women in uniform who make that freedom possible. We had that freedom secured by the blood of patriots who fought and paid for that freedom, and we've got an obligation to honor them by exercising our right on Tuesday to put America back on track. Now, you can help us by doing that. A lot of you all are volunteers. You've been working in this headquarters. You've been drinking lousy coffee. You've been listening to Hannity on the radio. Your ear hurts from calling strangers. Your ankles hurt from shaking off dogs when you're knocking on doors. But it matters. It matters. And because of your efforts, we have called 5 times more voters this election cycle than we did 4 years ago. Because of your efforts, we have knocked on 27 times more doors this time than we did 4 years ago. Now, I know that a lot of you came here from someplace else. Florida is a reward, it's a prize for a life well lived in another state. You played by the rules, you built your business, you raised your family, and you came here for our glorious autumns. You have an opportunity to do more than just impact this race in Florida, because you still have family in other states. You've got parents or children or grandchildren or cousins or aunts and uncles. I urge you to do what Alan said, and don't just email your Floridian friends and neighbors, but think back to Ohio and Michigan and Connecticut and Massachusetts and Pennsylvania. Mitt Romney's going to Pennsylvania because we can win Pennsylvania. You have an opportunity. You have an opportunity to impact more than just this race in Florida. We're going to win Florida, but it can't be a lonely victory. We need the other states, and we need to bring people with us. We need Connie Mack to be there so that Marco's vote isn't canceled out every day by Bill Nelson. We need to make sure Nancy Pelosi doesn't get the gavel back. We need to send Harry Reid back home. We need to make sure that our county commission and our school board and our legislators are strong. You need to continue to have the strong conservative leadership that Larry and Alan provide this community. And that, you look at these kids playing with the balloons. That's what it's all about. It's not about me, it's not about you, it's about the future of our country, because we're at a tipping point. And of course this is the most important election in our lifetimes, because I think it's the most important election in the country's lifetime. I don't know of a time when the difference between the two visions for America have been greater. One that puts government in the center of attention, in the center of your life, versus one that puts the individual at the center of American life, that allows you to find your piece of the American dream, that builds on those foundational principles that our patriots fought so hard to create when they laid out our Constitution. The freedoms, the liberties, rooted in faith, not being ashamed of our faith. Those are the strengths of this country, and that's what our patriots fight for. And so between now and Tuesday, even though a lot of us are tired and you're hoarse and your ear hurts and your ankle hurts and all, we've got to play through. We've got to work hard, because we've seen what close elections look like in Florida. And the last thing that we want is to wake up on Wednesday morning with a sinking feeling in our stomach and wonder what else we might have done. None of us want to wake up with that feeling. We want to wake up with the energy and excitement of the dawning of a new tomorrow that will once again make America that shining city on a hill, led by Mitt Romney, led by Paul Ryan, led by a conservative Senate and a conservative Congress that will put our country back on the right tracks of those foundational values that our country was based on. Thank you so much for coming out. Dan Webster is a good man. Very good. And he's in the fight of his life. Dan Webster was Speaker of the House in Florida, the first Republican speaker in 140 years. And he was the model for how to do it. He's never forgotten the people who put him there. He's never forgotten his faith. He's never turned his back on the people he represents. And Dan Webster has the Michael Bloombergs of the world interfering in what's going on in our neighborhood, in our community, in our towns, and that's just wrong. He needs to focus on New York. They've got a few issues up there right now. Danny Webster is a good man. He's an American patriot. He represents you well. And he is in the fight of his life. Let's do him right and send him back to Washington and keep all those liberal ideas at bay and do what's right for Lake County and Central Florida. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.